good? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 7 o'clock. Welcome. Just so I don't forget, if you're here with us in person, the fire exits are to the back of you in the audience and also to my left. So in the event that there is an exit strategy, there you go. Okay, so first off, we actually have a guest with us, so I'm going to hand it over so we can hear about our fall scholar athlete.
So we have Fritz Keeling, athletic director, who's going to take some time to celebrate the athletic accomplishments of our athletes this past fall, not only on the playing field but in the classroom. Can you sing and dance while I'm doing this, Fritz? I know you can. I've seen it before.
Well, while this is while the PowerPoint is going on, what is the Scholar Athlete Award? It's something that our state athletic association sponsors, and it's something that schools can apply for. And what that means is when we have a team whose GPA for 75% of their roster gets 90 or above, that's a Scholar Athlete Award. If we don't have a team that does that, we can still have student athletes with a 90 GPA or higher. They can receive a individual Scholar Athlete pin. And we certainly have a lot to celebrate for this fall season. Starting off with fall game day cheer, coached by Liv Pesci. You're going to see our Owl County selections and also the members of the team that did achieve that State Public Athletic Association Team Scholar Athlete Award. On our next slide, our boys cross country team, coached by Ben Bulkley. They just had a phenomenal season. They were Section 5 Class A champions. This was actually the third year in a row. And you're going to see all the names of the student athletes that qualified for the state championships. And they as a team also were a State Athletic Association Scholar Athlete team. Congratulations to them and Coach Bulkley. On to girls cross country, coached by Christy Moore. They had a wonderful season, and they also achieved the Scholar Athlete Award as a team. And you can see their all-county picks between first and second team. They had a phenomenal season, and congratulations to them. Our field hockey team, they were Section 5 Class A champions. They were also a team scholar athlete, as recognized as our State Public Athletic Association. Special congratulations to Dylan Bigwharf, who was an all-state player. And you can see there the list of all-county student athletes as well as our all-Greater Rochester selections. Congratulations to the field hockey team and Coach Santa. Next, we had our football team, coached by Mike Wayne and Rob Council. They play a federation schedule, and we had multiple first team and second team all-stars. They were also seeded number 1 after the regular season in the AA Federation football tournament. And you can see the individual Scholar Athlete Award winners for our football program. Congratulations to them and as well as our coaches. On to girls golf, coached by Terry Clark. They were Team Scholar Athlete Award winners, and a special congratulations to Harper Dittman. She was a first team all-county selection, and she was also the Tournament of Champion winners. That's the 4th year in a row that she has accomplished that. And she's also a state team qualifier, and she'll be participating in our state championships in June. So congratulations to the team as well as Harper. Our gymnastics program, coached by Alicia Baum, they were Section 5 champions. They will be competing in the state championships in March. And you can see the athletes that were achieved all-county status and state qualifying status. And a special congratulations to them as, again, they were Section 5 champions. Congratulations to boys soccer, coached by Bill Teasdale. They were also Team Scholar Athlete Award champions, and they finished the regular season and actually the entire season undefeated. They were Section 5 champions, and they marched all the way to the state championship. And that was certainly a special year to be undefeated and also state champions. They were truly number one. So congratulations to our boys soccer program and Coach Bill Teasdale. Next, with girls soccer, they were also New York State Team Scholar Athlete Award winners, and they were Section 5 champions as well as regional champions. What that means is they were victorious over the Section 6 champion in the Western Regionals, and then they went on to the state team qualifiers and really represented us well, losing a tight one to Ward Melville 5-4 in the state semifinals. So congratulations to our girls soccer program and Tom Natale. Our girls swimming and diving program, coached by Mike Kennedy, they were also Team Scholar Athlete Award winners. And you can see the multiple student athletes that we had that were qualifying for the states, as well as Section 5 champions. And we also had Soraya Lowe as our Monroe County diving champion. So they really had a phenomenal season. Congratulations to Coach Kennedy and his girls swimming and diving program. Girls tennis, coached by Joe All. We had Elena Hawk as a sectional qualifier, as well as Eunice Smith as a sectional qualifier. They had a phenomenal season, and they were also state academic award winners as sponsored by our State Public Athletic Association. Boys volleyball, coached by John Odell. They had another wonderful season, and you can see the honors that those student athletes achieved with All County and All Greater Rochester, as well as the Section 5 All Tournament teams, and they were also Team Scholar Athlete Award winners. And next, with girls volleyball, coached by Trish Forgenzi, they were Section 5 champions. This was the third time that they won that award. They also marched all the way to the state tournament and won the state title. And they were one of 2 teams that were New York State champions for the Fairport Central School District. Congratulations to our girls volleyball program and Coach Forgenzi. So all in all, we just had a tremendously successful fall season, especially in terms of our academics. We had our highest team, which was a 97 average as a team, and that was varsity gymnastics. And if you think about everything that goes into being a student athlete, you're practicing at night, you're practicing after school, your weekends are really busy. It takes just a real dedication on families, and I certainly thank all the families that are watching because I realize it does take a lot of sacrifice. A lot of dinners that are not enjoyed as a family, a lot of it is on the go, and I certainly realize it and appreciate that as well. And thank you to our superintendent and Board of Education for all the support. When you have this amount of teams that have this amount of success, there's a lot of travel involved, and it certainly does take a lot of work and many, many helping hands to get the student athletes to where they need to go. So it's sincerely appreciated. Thank you.
Hey, Fritz, earlier or later on, I was just going to talk about the Kerr recognition. Can you take a little bit to talk a little about what that recognition is and what it means for our athletic program?
Yep. The Kerr Cup, it's something that our New York State Sports Writers Association, they sponsor that award. For example, James Johnson, if you're familiar with that name, he writes for the Democrat and Chronicle. He's a part of that organization. And they sponsor an award where they give points based on how successful your teams are. You're going to get a certain amount of points if you win a sectional championship, if you finish in the top 8 in your classification, if you finish in the top 4, or if you're a state champion. And for the 23-24 school year, I was informed that we won the Kerr Cup, not just for our classification, but for New York State as a whole. And that's the second time we won that. We also won it in the 2018-2019 school year. So it's one of 2 awards where you're going to get an award based on actual data. The Scholar Athlete Award is the first one, and the Kerr Cup is the second one. So
We're representing in both of them, so thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, I needed a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
So moved.
Lisa and Jan, all in favor? Aye, 7-0. And I believe we do not have any public comments, so we'll move on to our communications. And Carmody, you are here, our school student advisor report. I couldn't hear him.
These are my mom's, so maybe that's why, but I don't know, like went in her closet before this. I was like, well, I can't wear my Uggs even though it's cold, so let me whip something up really quick.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought about it, but then I was like, this is my one chance. I guess I'll just do it. Good evening, everyone. Obviously, I'm here to give you my update. As we return from winter break, it's been definitely a few weeks of settling back into the school year and catching up with friends and teachers. One thing I did notice is that stood out to me is in talking to others, everyone's like relating about how peaceful the break was for so many people and how most people spent the time with family, taking a break from the usual pace of school and work life, which is really nice. It's definitely a reminder of the importance of our relationships and support systems that we have both in and out of school. And as we head into the new year, that focus on connection feels more important than ever, especially being a senior. Now, as we move into January, one thing that's impossible to ignore is the cold weather. The winter months have definitely brought some serious chills, and the wind chills are supposed to be dropping as low as -20 degrees. I'm regretting going to college here. As students, we've definitely noticed the impact on our daily routines, especially for the seniors who drive to school. Many of the seniors I've spoken with have had to take extra care on the roads, including myself, driving slowly and cautiously because the conditions have been kind of dangerous on the back roads through the neighborhoods because that's how we get to school on time. But we've all been doing our best, and we've kind of been slipping and sliding around a little bit, but it's okay. The scheduling process for next year is already underway for current juniors, which is crazy to me. It's an important time as they start thinking about the path ahead and eventually college. And if there are any questions, they know our school counselors are always available, as well as our guidance library, to help guide them through the process with our school college visits and informative meetings. As we near the end of the second quarter, it's hard to believe how quickly the first semester has flown by. It feels like we're just starting the school year, and I was still tan coming to school wearing shorts. And now we're already gearing up for midterms and finalizing plans for the rest of the year. For many students, second quarter is a time when things start to feel a little more real, especially for seniors who are in the midst of finalizing their college decisions. The application process has been a huge focus for many of us, and the excitement and sometimes stress of hearing back from schools is definitely on our minds. It's a reminder of how much we've learned and grown this year and how close we are to the next chapter. On that note, midterms are coming up in just a few weeks, which I think is actually next week and sometimes the week after. For many students, these exams are a big part of the semester, and it's important to start preparing early, but there's been a lot of information being sent home to make sure that everyone's all set, which is also gives us a good time to reach out to teachers and counselors if we feel like we need some extra help before exams. With our short week, it's a great opportunity to reflect on the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his message of equality and justice, as well as community, that continues to inspire us today. This month, our school is also focusing on acceptance as a part of our district's DASA initiative. I think this is a really powerful theme because it reminds us all of the importance of making sure everyone feels welcome here at Fairport, which I think is something that we do very well. It's about supporting one another, not just about tolerance, but about actively supporting everyone, embracing differences, and being a community where all students can thrive. On a final note, I'd like to share that last week we held the National Honor Society induction ceremony, where a group of students was honored for their hard work and commitment to scholarship, leadership, service, and character. Seeing so many students recognized, which I think was like maybe 120, was a reminder of how much we all have to offer at this school district when we support each other and strive to be our best. Thank you all for your continued support as we move forward into the year. We're excited to keep working together to make Fairport a place where every student feels seen, heard, and valued. Thank you.
Thanks, Carmody. Carmody, did you decide where you're going?
I think I'm going to end up at U of R to study neuroscience.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate
Stay in
it.
the cold.
Yeah, when you said you're staying in the cold, I figured I would
I'm
find
going real
out.
far, 25 minutes. I told my mom, I was like, if I go, we have to take the highway, like all the way around, make it a long drive, just so I feel like I'm going far. Thank you guys. Have a good
Thanks,
Thank you.
Carmody. Oh. So up next, I'm up next to the president's report. So I'm not going to be super long, but I had some of the stuff that Carmody brought up in what I was going to talk about, so I'll keep it brief. But thankfully, the days are starting to get longer in terms of sunlight. I think the sun was out a little bit today, which was blinding. I'm not used to it. But since the last time we had our meeting, there's been lots of activities and events across the district, both academic areas and sports and the arts. Carmody mentioned some of those. This week and next week, the students are taking midterms, and on Friday, our teachers will be and staff will be busy grading and kind of preparing for the next semester. I can't believe we're almost at the mid-year. It seems like it's gone really fast, and I don't know that I'm used to writing 2025 yet. Maybe all of you are, but I am definitely not. January has been a busy month for many of our board members. We've had lots of committee meetings, consolidation meetings, and advocating on behalf of the district. Some folks who might be here in the audience or home may have seen our governor's State of the State this afternoon, where Kathy Hochul brought up foundation aid, cell phone usage, among other topics related to public education that you've probably heard us talk about and advocate for here and in other situations. We have been eagerly awaiting the proposed budget. I'm not going to speak to it very much because I think Mr. Provenzano might be touching on it. But we will be reviewing our non-instructional and instructional budgets in the upcoming months. I did just want to plug the fact that there are opportunities for the community to come and hear information about our budget process and the budget itself. So we'll plug that. It's a great opportunity. Additionally, the board had the opportunity to visit Joanna Perrin this past Friday, and we were able to meet with Pat and Casey, students, teachers, and other school staff. We also were able to meet with our food services, and we got to be right in the cafeteria there and learn about all the new offerings that they have for students that seem to be a big hit, so that was great. And just the energy of all the staff there was outstanding. People really genuinely feel that they are appreciated and enjoy their jobs. We were also able to see spaces that were recently updated in actual action. So the technology space was a highlight for me. I got to see actual work taking places. The tables were not as perfect as they were when we went there last, which is great. That means students are using them. They're working hard. We also got to take tours with students who shared opinions, thoughts, and just ideas for what could and does make Fairport a great place to be. We also got to hear a little bit about spaces that do still need to be brought up to speed. So we'll be talking more about that in the future as well. So that is all I have, and I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Provenzano.
My first report of 2020-25. It still feels pretty weird saying that. And I'm excited to be here and talk a little bit about our school improvement initiatives, organizational focus areas. Brian said it the other day with a chuckle, our big rocks. We haven't heard about the big rocks, and I called Lindsay. I'm like, Lindsay, get the big rocks. And, so you inspired us, and it's true. I mean, this is so incredibly helpful. These focus areas of school improvement, school start times, facilities planning, 26, 27 consolidation, and also being fiscally responsive and responsible, especially as we start the budget season. It helps us stay grounded. So thank you for supporting these ideas. And I'm going to touch base on some of these. Part of our school improvement is sustainability. There's a sustainability initiative going on, particularly in our elementary buildings, and that's our bright spot. We'll start with that.
Thinking about how do we move into composting as a district? What other districts are doing it. What can we learn from this, and how can we get involved? And so Northside actually happened to be the first school in our district that really jumped in on this, and they conducted a waste audit. And what they found was that about 48% of our waste could be composted.
Each of our elementary schools has either a green team or an environmental club, and the JA Environmental Club actually presented to the school board last year, really advocating for composting.
Thank you for giving us time tonight to talk about a very important topic. We, the JA Go Green Club, have an excited proposition to reduce the amount of garbage our school produces. We believe composting is the best solution to this problem.
So really the students kind of helped push this along. But Impact Earth is really one of a kind in the area for what they do. So they have representatives that come to our school buildings to teach the students, teach the staff, and then check in with us throughout the year to make sure that we're doing well with our efforts. So they've been an amazing community partner for us.
In the beginning, there were a lot of questions, and the district did a great job of making signage to relate to the children of what, what can go in and what can't. There may be some value in them second guessing the way things are done in other places, because kids do what you teach them, and when you empower them to do these things, they want to do it more.
I also think it's been really impactful just educationally to our staff. And it's really kind of helped open up a lot of people's eyes to what can we do to reduce waste, just even in the smallest sense.
We teach both sides and teach the aides what can go in, what can't go in. So it's up to my staff and myself to make sure we're, modeling the behavior so that they know what to do in the cafeterias as well. It's such a joy to not be throwing food in the garbage when there's waste back here. We are giving smaller green buckets, and I make sure that every garbage can in my kitchen has a smaller composting bucket next to it, so that it ensures people don't have to think when they're throwing something out as much and go find it.
Kids are sponges, right? So they pick up on everything that you teach them, and they have taken it and run with it. So we thought if we roll this out, we were going to start with elementary, our youngest, and then continue to plan to roll it up through our middle schools and our high schools.
It could be a lot more work sometimes putting in something sustainable, and that's why I love this, because it's easy and sustainable. So I feel great about what we're doing, and I feel kind of honored to be the first school doing it in the district too.
What's really neat about Impact Earth is that our compost will be coming back to us this spring to help with our gardens.
If we can do something that's going to be beneficial to the earth or to ourselves, or we're creating less waste, I'm all about it.
We're really training our students to be able to do something that will be impactful past their time up here.
Thank you, Lindsay and Lauren, for producing that and sharing a little bit about what we're doing with sustainability and how we're trying to grow and educate. And it definitely fits into our priorities as a district and the board's priorities. I talked a little bit about the Kerr Cup. Fritz did a nice job talking about the academic excellence, but there's also the athletic excellence that goes along with that, as we have celebrated throughout the year. Just want to acknowledge all of our great coaches, our student athletes, of course, and the families and community that supports Fairport Athletics. It's definitely an important part of what we do here in Fairport, and I know we're all proud to be a part of it. January's Consolidation Pillar Update. This is evolving. This is not necessarily the same list that you saw last month, and I'm proud of the fact that our team is focused. Not going to go over every single piece of this, but you'll see in transition teams that are meeting, talking about the consolidation with our students. We have district operations coming up this week, where we're going to be meeting with transportation, food service, technology, safety and security as well. We're looking at the use of our facility with some transition planning meetings. What's it going to take as we prepare for 26, 27. That list continues to grow. There's HR and personnel staffing components, contractual components that we're obligated and honored to follow. So it's moving as the plan is in place. So I know the board is interested to learn more and get a deeper dive into that, and looking forward to continuing this conversation as we move forward. But pillars for consolidation are heading in the right direction. Thank you for your support, and thank you for our admins and our staff who are engaged in it. One piece on there is the school start time and studying wraparound care, and hopefully in the coming weeks we'll be able to finalize a potential community partner in supporting that endeavor, which would be good for the community. Construction of our 2020-23 capital improvement project. We're right here, and right now our plans are still in the state, being vetted and looked at by the state team, but we're planning on getting that back and making any adjustments if we need to, but going out to bid and breaking ground in the spring. And so that's the timeline. It's a general timeline. By 26, you'll see Martha Brown will be under construction in specific areas, so we can get some of those office spaces ready for our directors who will be going over there from Palmer Place. The consolidation of 9th grade to Fairport High School is in 26-27, so those spaces that are going to be constructed this spring, starting this spring, we anticipate those to be accessible and ready for 26-27, and then you'll see the project closeout, which would include the track as well, will be all completed by 26-27. Just a general overview, but right now you haven't heard too much about it because it's in the state's hands.
Yeah.
And then once it gets out of the state's hands and bids come to play, then user groups continue to meet and it becomes a real life project.
But something that kind of made me feel excited when I asked you about this last time was you shared the state has been in conversation, though. It's not just in the abyss of state ed.
Yeah, right. They come back with questions and points of clarification.
So it's moving.
Yeah,
it's moving.
but sometimes you're at their mercy with
Yes.
the timeline, and we have no reason to believe that we're off schedule. It's just we're in that sort of that quiet phase. And as we talk about facilities planning, K-8, for the past several months, we've been looking at a potential capital improvement project at no additional cost to the taxpayers, utilization of capital reserves, and maximizing maximal cost allowances, which is how we generate aid in each of our buildings. The themes of addressing the 5-year building condition survey of useful life, health and safety, and critical infrastructure, which includes ventilation and air management. Designated classrooms and toilet rooms will be part of the recommended project, and HVAC variations in large group instructional and assembly spaces to sort of complement what the governor was speaking about with her heat mandate index. So, and I know the team is going to be meeting soon to talk about what that might look like come September when that mandate comes into place from the governor. But facilities planning is underway. Next month there will be another presentation which will narrow the scope. We'll communicate clearly on what's going to happen in each one of our K-8 facilities. So you have the 2020-23 project, which is completely separate from the K-8 facilities planning project, which is coming in February. Yes, the New York State Executive Budget Proposal, Governor Hochul spoke or shared that education will receive a $1.46 billion increase in foundation aid. What that means for Fairport, probably about a 1.5 increase, or approximately $490,000 at this point in time. Now, last year, if you recall, we had an increase and then it went down. So what it means today, that doesn't mean that it can't settle once numbers come and they continue to run state formulas. So, but right now it looks like we have a $490,000 increase, or 1.5% from last year, budget to budget. So, along with New York State mandates in cell phone usage, which I think we're prepared to support in our schools by the work that we have been doing, and also lunch.
Yeah, lunch.
Yep.
Universal meals.
Universal meals. So that's something that's we're looking to learn more about. This just came out this afternoon, so we haven't been able to dig too deep into it, but this is a high-level estimate. Mr. Stevens, thank you for taking a look at that and getting that to us. And here it is, the timeline. Erica, you were speaking about the budget process. It's definitely beginning, and you see our first under the hood
I didn't want to say
presentation.
the wrong thing.
Yeah, you don't want to say under the trunk.
Yeah.
But under the hood, we have two series, January 30th and February 6th. We invite community members to be a part of that. But the budget is not an event, it's a process. And it's something that the board has been working on since July through October. And here we are, it's January. As we enter budget season, next month we'll be focusing on the non-instructional budget. And you can see as we move through, there'll be opportunities to learn about the budget. We'll be presenting on the budget in multiple different ways over the next several weeks and months, all the way until May 20th. So I'm loving this timeline and we become one with that timeline. So,
Yes, we have.
but I am proud of the fact because, the board has an expectation that we are transparent and that we try to invite people into our process. And this is a nice representation on how we do that. Just not one event. It's
And just
multiple.
out of curiosity, I'm just gonna, how do people sign up to attend?
Under the hood.
Yep.
There's been multiple communications. Lindsay, do you have something off the cuff?
It's on the website, and we also have some social media posts coming out.
Oh,
reminding
perfect. I knew it was on the website, and I know there's been a lot of stuff sent out, but I know that people get busy and sometimes don't see everything. So just trying to put a friendly reminder out.
Yep. And that's all I have. Lots going on and lots to report on, and we're moving through the year, but we're focused because we have been organized, and I appreciate the board for letting that happen.
Thank you. Okay, up next we have board member committee reports. So I will throw it out to the rest of the board.
Well, I mean, I had a big one, but Brett kind of stole all my thunder on this one.
Oh, geez, how did I do that?
I don't know. What would legislative be talking about today, Brett? Anyway, just some budget stuff going off of what Brett and Erica said. Again, this is literally announced a couple hours ago by the governor. She pointed out each district receives at least a 2% annual increase in aid, so I'm very interested at our 1.5 number, but
I guess she meant average.
yeah, sure. But anyway, it is better than it was last year, so yay. Other cool stuff in the budget: it will fully fund aidable expenses, including stuff like UPK, construction, transportation expenses, which is all really cool. Universal meals, a huge win for our advocacy efforts. And guys, thank you all sincerely for listening to me talk about universal meals. I know we have lots of discussions about it, and you guys know how passionate I am about it. So I promise to return the favor on the causes you care as much about as I care about universal meals. But one interesting thing, to Erica's point, when we talked to food services at JP, Ms. Alvarez Savage and Christine Laubers over there was telling us about some of the problems we'll need to solve with universal meals and what that looks like. I mean, they're good problems that we'll have to solve, balancing out with universal meals, making sure all kids can eat. But interesting stuff for us to keep in mind and think of as we go forward. Erica and Brett both mentioned the governor's proposed phone policy. Just to give a little more information on that, starting next year, students will have to, air quotes, disconnect from phones during the school day. The important thing from our perspective is that schools will have flexibility in how they implement that, which is what we've been advocating for at the state and county level, right? That local control. Districts know what works best for them. And at a meeting or workshop earlier this year, we heard the great work that Bob Clark, Don Monticelli, and his teams at Minerva and FHS have done with that. So again, we're on the good curve of that. And again, all of these are huge advocacy wins, the work that NYSBA and Monroe County School Boards Association has done to this. One other thing in the governor's budget or state of the state, increasing broadband and wireless internet access, which is something we've talked about a lot in Texas Task Force, so that's still on their radar. And again, this is just the first pass. The Assembly and Senate will have their budget proposals. The negotiations will begin. This is a marathon, not a sprint. But it's easier. It's good when there's stuff for schools in the budget at first rather than trying to add it later like we have in years past. So very good. I got three other really quick things. One, you mentioned the heat mandate law, Brett. There are some amendments proposed in each house, the Senate and the Assembly, that would add just some practical language to that. So kind of making it a little more user-friendly, I guess, in terms of how it works. Again, something we'll be advocating for a track on. And our Monroe County School Board Association legislative breakfast is February 1st. A bunch of us will be there meeting with our state legislators, Congressman Morelli, reps from the governor's office. I think someone's going to be there, which is huge. and then reps from Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand. Looking forward to that. This is not related to legislative, but I also just want to give a general shout out to all the Fairport musicians who took part in Solo Fest in Monroe County the past couple weekends, and who've earned spots in various all-county ensembles, which will be playing later in the spring.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, so 2 updates for committees. Policy, we're continuing to move along, and I don't know if you guys will get as excited about this, but when we set up policy really 2.5 years ago, it was a 5-year cycle. So we're halfway through the 5-year cycle on overhauling the policies. So I don't know. We're going to have a curriculum party for that, but I think when we finish the policy cycle, we should also have
And there ain't no
some.
policy like a party.
Yeah, ain't no party like a policy party. So it's been a huge lift, and we do understand that as the board that some of these policies were very outdated, and we know it's gone to a lot of our people here in the district, and we're just very appreciative of the time that you have put in. It's been a lot of work, and we know that, and so we're very appreciative. The other committee meeting I had the privilege to attend with Erica and Rich was the transition committee meeting, and we really focused on the master scheduling process, which I don't know, as a teacher, I have never really thought about, but it's fascinating, and it has so many spreadsheets, and they're all color-coded, and it's just a wonderful process, in my opinion. But I think I left really focused on the word collaboration, and I think that came up over and over and over again in this meeting. And Mr. Clark kept saying, we're just trying to pull away the curtains because this is what this process is, and it's a very collaborative process. Talking about, the students pick their courses. They say what they need with their counselors, and they say what they want. And then those numbers come to Mr. Clark, and the counselors and Mr. Clark work together to figure out what classes are going to run, what classes maybe do we wait a year so that we have, instead of 4 students, we have 8 students. And, if a ceramics class needs this many kids for this many kilns. And it's a lot of in-depth looking at the needs of our kids and then making that work. And then those classes that are going to run go to the lead teachers. And I thought it was really interesting because he talked about how then each department really works through that process in their own way. And so he was talking about one department uses index cards at their next faculty meeting and they put it together. Another department, I think it was English, said they send an email of their favorite things to teach, what would be kind of their least favorite things to teach. But really talking about how, some years you take the hit for the department and you teach maybe the class that's not your favorite, but then the next couple of years you teach a favorite, and just that real nature of we're a department together to make it successful, and that's really the lead teachers in the department doing that process. That's not top down telling you what you're teaching. That's having that conversation. So really looking at Minerva coming in with FHS and how that marriage happens. So it's not going to be, well, you've always taught 9th grade, you have to do this. It's really coming together as we're now the high school English department. And we're going to come together and figure out our favorites and our maybe not so favorites and how we're going to do this as a team. So it just really talked a lot about collaboration. And I really was impressed when Mr. Clark talked about the goal of just having 2 spaces at max kind of for teachers. Obviously, sometimes that won't be what happens, but really to meet our board goal of students still being able to find teachers. Because that came up when the vote went down for the space at the high school that, okay, well, now we can fit everybody, but you're going to be teaching in 6 different classrooms. And so it was really kind of a goal that the kids can still find their teachers and that teachers can have their home space. Like you want that space to create your learning environment and flourish. So I just left just so excited and just really focused on that collaborative nature and this time to just have discussion and ask questions. And I just thought it was a great opportunity. So.
Thank you. And I would agree. It was very exciting to see the process. Anyone else? I know some of our committees did not meet yet this month, and there's some later this week. Okay. So up next, we have our treasurer investment update.
Okay, thank you and good evening. Before jumping into this, I just want to offer a really quick piece of clarification. As Mr. Provenzano mentioned, related to the 1.5%, if you recall last year when the executive budget proposal came out, our aid was slightly higher than where it landed. So the information came out very late in the budget process when it was finally adopted. So our budget to budget is a 1.5% increase. The district is getting the minimum 2% increase in terms of the actual aid that came in this year. So our actual foundation aid coming in for 24-25 is $151,000 less than was initially projected because of that timing of the adopted budget last April. So it is minimum for the district. However, it nets us to a 1.5% increase, as Mr. Provenzano mentioned, or the $490,000. So you got it. Yep, thank you. So now to jump into the treasury and investment update for the month of November of 2024. We had a beginning balance in the general fund of $138.6 million. Receipts in the month of $3 million, disbursements of $15.1 million for an ending cash balance of $126.5 million. Of the $126.5, pretty close to 100% invested in a mix of the insured cash sweep, treasury bills, money market accounts. It's about $125.9 million as a whole there. Trending year to date through November, revenues at about $103.9 million, mostly made up of taxes that come in the fall, and expenses at about $50 million. So about 69% of revenues received to date, and just at approximately 32% of expenses. So again, it'll continue to trend throughout the year as we continue to pay out salaries, benefit expenses, BOCE services. Those are a few of the big expenses we have throughout the school year. So that's an update for the month of November of 24. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, so next up, we're moving to our presentations. And yep,
Brian.
we're gonna get some updates on the 2000.
How heavy this thing is?
Oh. Yeah, the 2019 capital improvement, which feels long ago.
Push to talk. There we go. We got it. All right, so just a reminder of everything that was in the referendum. We had 1A here at the high school. We had 1B at all the remaining schools. We had the Finishes project, which was the Terrazzo project here at the high school. And lastly, the Art Rooms project. So as you can see, we ended up in a great spot. We do have a little contingency left, but we still have to go through the final budgets. And you're going to see a trend here. So we are wrapping up 1A, 1B. The last of the Terrazzo and the Art Wing just got done this fall. And the Art Rooms, if you guys haven't seen the last one, it's quite nice. And then again, complete. We are waiting for display case glass to come in. Lastly, the capital outlay is going to be completed over the breaks to be done by June 30th. And here's a few pictures. So looking down at the Art Wing, 414, which was the first room we completed. 124, jewelry making stations on the left, polishers on the right. Another shot of 124. And Dudley, capital outlay. So we've demoed the floor using February and April breaks. We'll finish up. Any questions on 19? You know what? Maybe we'll do one with the fields and everything. Oh, we'll get one for the track. But as a reminder, as Brett mentioned, 2023 is at SED. We've got our first round of comments back. We've responded. So again, we're in this holding pattern, getting ready to go. I would like to introduce Craig McGowan. He's going to join our team as a project manager throughout 2023. So you'll be seeing more of him. So without any further ado, you guys good? Excellent.
Wrap it up
Thank you.
and start up a new one.
I know.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. Okay, so up next, we're going to go to board discussion and action items. So the first thing is field trip, so I need a motion to approve the attached field trip request.
So moved.
Brian? Nicole? Any discussion? Again, some really amazing field trip opportunities across grade levels, so very exciting. All in favor? Aye, 7-0. Okay, next up, policy. First read, so I need a motion that the Board of Education approves the first reading of the following policies: 1630, 1650, 5410, 5620, 6150, 6151, 6214, 7690, 8130, and 8131.
So moved. Second.
Mary Caitlin and Lisa. Discussion. And yes, I did read them all because it's exciting that we got so many through. You know, just to.
Keep going.
Any comments? You know, as Mary Caitlin mentioned, people have been working really hard to get comments and information back to us so that we can move swiftly through this process. So exciting.
I think just clarifying what that means too, that like we don't just do the policy us, we put it out to the relevant staff members who would actually know all the ins and outs. So there's a lot of work outside of just the board doing that. So we just appreciate their time.
Absolutely. All in favor? 7-0. Okay, policy second reads. Motion that the Board of Education approves the second reading of the following policies: 3410, 6110, 7219, 7220, 7250, 7340, 7410, 7522, 7660, and 8460. Brian?
Second.
Lisa, any discussion here? I know we've seen them before. Okay, all in favor? Aye, 7-0. This is something that we have to do occasionally, standard workday and reporting. So be it resolved that the board or the Fairport Central School District hereby establishes minimum standard work days for the purpose of determining days worked reportable to the New York State and local employees retirement system per attached. And there is something in public comment if people are curious.
So second.
Lisa and Brian, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye, 7-0. Up next, motion that the Board of Education approves the execution of the revised UPK agreement as attached upon review and final approval by the Board of Education's attorneys.
So moved.
Lisa? Nicole? Any discussion here? Okay, all in favor? Aye, 7-0. Found this one really exciting. I need a motion that the Board of Education approves the following donation.
So moved.
Lisa and then Jan. Any discussion?
Grateful for this family. Grateful we don't need it to be a thing anymore.
Yeah, and this is in public comment as well. It's just, there was a family that donated towards our lunch costs.
Lunch debt.
Yeah, lunch debt. Few people know that there is often a pretty large debt at the end of the year because we have to make sure that all of our students are fed regardless. So there typically is some sort of debt at the end of the year, and this family put some money towards it, which is a great idea. Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Aye, 7-0. Which brings us to personnel. Okay, and I need a motion to approve the following instructional staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
So moved.
Lisa?
Second.
Rich? And I did want to,
Bitter and sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, some folks probably know, some might not, but Matt Stevens, who has been with us for quite a while, our Assistant Superintendent of Business, will be moving on to other opportunities, which we're happy for him, sad for us, because we just have really enjoyed working with you and just all the education and support and answering of questions that you've provided us as a board over the past, for me, 5 years, and I know you've been on for much longer than that. So excited for you to have this new opportunity, but sad for us.
And the same note.
Yes, that was my next
This,
thing.
the bitter part. You know,
I didn't know if
we have-
anybody else wanted to
we
say
have
anything,
Jer-
yes.
We have Jeremy Nardones here who went through a process and will be recommending to the board on this agenda right here to be filling in for Matt's position as Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations. So
But
thank you, Matt, and welcome.
Yes, welcome, Jeremy. We're excited to have you on board. Absolutely. Okay. All in favor? Aye, 7-0. So now we can actually, yes. So congratulations. There was a day that I congratulated someone before we had officially approved it, so I'm trying to. Yeah, before I motion, so I'm trying to be careful. So congratulations. You will get to know us very well. Okay, up next, we have non-instructional and civil service, so I need a motion to approve the following non-instructional and civil service staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
So moved.
Brian? Jan?
Man.
Yep, and I was gonna hand it over
So
to you.
we do have a number of retirements here, some teacher aides, Marty Bierman, Laura Sabinski, and Monica O'Brien. Our teacher aides and teacher assistants here in Fairport who've made incredible contributions at their respective schools. We also have cook manager Lori Dygart, 25 years here at Fairport High School. Chris, I know that's going to be a loss for your team. She's an amazing part of the work that happens there every single day. So all these are culture carriers and part of the fabric of who we are. So it's not easy to make these recommendations, but at the same time, it's exciting for them too. So
That's exciting.
thank you to all these who are part of this agenda here.
Yes, congratulations to them. Okay, all in favor? Aye, 7-0. And up next, I need a motion to approve the following athletic staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Mary Caitlin? Lisa? All in favor? Aye, 7-0. And I need a motion to approve the benefit contracts of managerial administration personnel as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Brian? Nicole? All in favor? Aye, 7-0. Up next is the consent calendar, so I need a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Lisa?
Second.
Rich? All in favor? Aye, 7-0. And I need a motion for the board to enter into executive session to discuss matters pertaining to the information noted on the agenda.
So moved.
Brian and Rich, all in favor? Aye. Okay, if you're listening at home or in the audience, we will be, see, I did it. We will be entering into we will re-enter the meeting just to adjourn. So no need to stick around or watch after. We're good.
Great.